Hello and welcome to the legendary Spa circuit in Belgium for a very special RaceRoom video. Tonight we're hosting our first ever Discord community race. Now our Discord server's less than 2 weeks old, but myself, Ben at Labroca Sim Racing and Sven at Zero Tiro, we've all been bowled over by the support we've had from you guys. And the fact that we're here already hosting our first community race is just incredible. I think we've got more than 50 members on the channel already, so in such a short space of time, we're truly appreciative for everyone who's joined in and really got on board with it. So on behalf of Ben, Sven and myself, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone who's joined. In particular, I'd like to say thanks to Goose, who set up the server for this community race tonight, even though he can't be here to race himself. And also Julian Garcia for setting up a practice server so that guys could jump on throughout the day today and have a practice in the GT3s at Spa. Anyone watching the video who isn't already in the Discord group and you fancy joining, you'd be most welcome. I'll put an invitation link into the description of this video. Feel free to click on it and come and say hi. It's a really informal and friendly group, and it's just a place for you guys to hang out, talk about RaceRoom and sim racing in general. We'll share tips and advice, we'll talk about motorsport in general, and also what videos we've got coming up on the channels. As for tonight's racing, we put it to the vote on Discord, and we've got the GT3s at Spa. We're going to run two 20-minute races, fixed setup with a top 8 reverse grid for race 2. We've had 17 drivers enter tonight, and qualifying's just finished. Pole position man is Ben Harrison of Labroca Sim Racing, and he's joined on the front row by Lars Hansen of Less Than Expert Racing. And to find me, you've got to go right to the very back. I managed to invalidate all 3 of my flying laps in qualifying, so I'll be starting from 16th. And much like my other videos, I'll be putting in some race highlights as we go, so we should be able to keep in touch with everything that's going on track. Let's go to the grid and see how we get on. Oh, there's already a couple of jump starts over on the left. I didn't even know we had jump start switched on. But I'm not going to shift it into first until those lights go green. And we're away, and there's all kinds of drive-through penalties been given out, and Ben Harrison's one of them. The pole position man has been given a drive-through penalty. I don't know how many people got them, but it was at least 3 as we work our way through the first turn, taking it easy, but there's a nice lot of room. So we're up to 14th. As we power down flat out into Eau Rouge for the first time. Got a pretty decent drive. Probably not close enough to make a move though at this stage. Just going to sit back tight. Try and get those tyres up to temperature before I start making any attempts to move forward any further, but we've gained a few places, so a decent start all in all. A few cars running out wide into this hairpin. Looks like Nicholas Campbell's blue Porsche was out the widest, but they've all rejoined. Oh, Nicholas is out wide again. He's lost it this time. He's spun out in Buon. Oh, unlucky man. I'm sure I saw him spin out there during practice or qualifying as well. That has put us up to 13th. Getting right on the tail of Stuart Clark's now as the yellow comes out again. So what's happened around here? Has someone else gone off? There's a cloud of dust, and yeah, there's a car on the inside. It was Van Helden who came to grief. I think he's rejoined behind me. But that's got us up to 12th. And we're right with Clarkson Jones. So if I can push and stick with these two, we should be on for a good top 10 battle. Let's keep our eyes on the top of the leaderboard as well, because Ben Harrison is out front, but he's got to take that drive through at some point. Is he going to go in this time? Doesn't look like he has. Oh, but a couple of cars in front of me have, so that's definitely Clark's, and I think Larson as well. both decided to take their drive-through penalties straight away. Ben Harrison, the leader, he's staying out for a bit longer. I guess he's got a clear track in front of him, so he wants to make the most of it. Looks like Lars Hansen is right behind him, but I can't imagine Lars is in too much of a hurry to get past him if he knows Ben's got to go into the pits. He'll probably just want to wait behind. But yeah, in all that drive-through chaos, I've actually gained 3 places. Someone else must have gone in as well. We're up to 9th. So from the back row of the grid to 9th, after 1 lap, I will certainly take as the yellow flags come out. What's going on up ahead? Oh, there's 2 cars out on the right, and it looked like one of them was Sven from 0 to hero. So really not a good start for my 2 YouTube colleagues. Ben's got to have a drive-through penalty, and Sven has just binned it. And just looking further up the order, it looks like Lars has taken the lead, so he's got around Ben. Right, now things are starting to settle down a bit. Let's go back and look at some replays. We'll begin at the start, and I couldn't see an obvious jump start from Ben, but he got away very sharp. When you do get handed a penalty like that, there's nothing that you can do but get your head down and try and make up as much time as you can before you've got to take the penalty. Ben's certainly doing that there. He got away really well. Lars Hansen behind him. And it looks like Julian Garcia in the Porsche in 3rd as they come around Eau Rouge for the first time. And then a few corners later was where we gained our first position back, and that was down to Nicholas Campbell spinning out at Pujon. Really unlucky there, just getting on the gas a little bit too early by the looks of it and losing the rear. And then it was Jeroen van Helden, who got a little bit out of shape on the exit of this left-hander, drifts out wide, clips the wall, manages to get it back in, but then there's just the slightest bit of contact with the cars coming by, and that's what spins him out. And he managed to rejoin just behind me, I think. Yeah, there I go past in the BMW. And then, unfortunately for Van Helden, things went from bad to worst on the very next lap. He binned it big time coming out of Eau Rouge. I didn't see that in my rearview mirror at the time, but it was certainly a spectacular exit. And then at the end of that straight, there's a little bit of contact between Sven and Paul Hughes. And Sven just can't get his BMW turned in. He spins out, and he's soon to be joined by Kevin Milhouse, who also just loses the rear and parks it up next to Sven. And that gave me 2 more positions and put me up to 7th. That gap behind now is a little bit more comfortable after those incidents earlier in the lap. So I'm quite happy now in 7th, just tucking in behind Chris Jones. It'll be interesting to see if Ben takes his drive through this lap. I suspect he might now he's behind Lars. And yes, he is by the looks of it. So that's going to give us another position. Not sure how costly these drive-thrus are and how much time it takes, but I'm pretty sure we'll get around in front of Ben before he rejoins the circuit. So that's put us up to 6th. So with Ben Harrison taking an enforced trip down pit lane, that really gave the advantage to Lars Hansen. He'd already opened up a couple of seconds advantage over Ben, but now he's well away. And if you just look in the background, that's Julian Garcia coming through. He's up to 2nd, with Paul Hughes also in a Porsche, promoted to 3rd. The drive-through was a real shame, actually, because it denied us the chance to see another Harrison-Hansen battle. The 2 of them had a right ding-dong in the Group 2 race at Zandvoort the other night, and that was broadcast live on Ben's La Brocca Sim Racing channel, so do go to YouTube and check out the replay of that one. It was well worth a watch. Jones is just keeping it so smooth at the moment. I'm really struggling to see where I'm going to find a way through. I feel like I've got the pace, but it's just finding that gap. I just can't get close enough to him. got a good drive out of there, but we just run out of straight before I get a chance to make a move. But we're right on his tail now. So if he is a bit sluggish exiting one of these corners, we could be right on him. And yeah, got a really good drive out of there. I might be able to pull alongside him on the inside. If I'm going to do it, I need to do it now. I just didn't fancy that. It's a very fast corner, these two left-hand kinks, and I really didn't fancy being too wide there. So I've eased off, and that's actually cost me more time, if anything. So let Jones just open up a little bit of an advantage. Oh, I got a little bit out of shape coming out of the bus stop chicane there. I just felt the rear start to slide. Yeah, I wasn't 100% confident about making this move, so it was a little bit half-hearted, and then I did think better of it just as I was about to pull alongside. I didn't fancy that there was room for the two of us to go side by side. Oh, now that felt the best I've come through Eau Rouge all race, and I've really got the momentum now, so I'm going to go to the outside. Willing this BMW to go as fast as it can. Are we going to run out of straight, or are we going to get past? I think we've done enough. Yeah, Jones has just eased off. I've run a little bit wide. I was trying to give him some space just in case he was going to fire back. I think it earned us an incident point, but thankfully no slowdown penalty. So we've made that move stick, and we're up to 5th. Don't know if Jones is going to fire back, or whether we might have the pace just to eke away a little bit. It looks like we have. Yeah, there are a few better feelings in sim racing than when you get it right going through Eau Rouge, and I certainly felt like I got it right there. I got a really good drive out, and the speed I had was incredible. A little bit of help from the draft as well from Chris Jones there, but I got out alongside, and then it was pretty much a drag race to the chicane. And Chris gave me a lot of space there. That was really generous of him. I ran out a little bit wide just in case he was going to fire back, really. But thankfully, I made the move stick cleanly. So after making that pass on Chris, I managed to open up a fairly decent advantage over the next few laps. And by the time we got to within 3 or 4 minutes of the finish, I was 5 seconds clear of Chris in 6th. But I was more than 10 seconds behind Kai in 4th place, so I knew that 5th was going to be as good as I could get, really, unless there was a disaster in front. But the way the front 4 were running, I knew that a mistake was very unlikely from any of them. And they were all quite spaced out too, so the real battle was going on behind me, and that was the one for 8th place, which effectively grants you pole position for race 2 with our reverse grid. Clark's is occupying 8th at the moment, but Steenekamp is coming right up on his rear. It was on the approach to the bus stop chicane with a couple of laps to go that Andre Steenekamp really got to within touching distance of that gorgeous McLaren. Steenekamp behind in the black Porsche, closing right in as they hit the chicane. Less than a car length between them, with 2 laps to go. And Sven Koppel there from 0 to hero, just ahead in 7th. But all eyes on the battle for 8th. And as they exit Radalon onto that long back straight, Steenekamp gets the similar drive that I used to get around Jones a few laps earlier. It's exactly the same pass around the outside. Job done for Steenekamp, and as it stands, he'll be on pole position for race 2. So while all that action was going on behind me, it was actually a fairly lonely few laps for me. Still 12-13 seconds behind Kai in 4th, and with a comfy 6-second advantage over Chris Jones behind me. So it's just a case of keeping it smooth, keeping it steady, and bringing it home for that 5th place, which I was absolutely delighted with given the disastrous qualifying session that I had and starting from the back of the grid. Meanwhile, further up the road, Lars Hansen was in a class of his own. No one could get anywhere near him once Ben Harrison went down pit lane for that drive-through penalty, and he brought it home for an emphatic victory. Hansen there, just about to take the checkered flag, which of course means he'll start race 2 from 8th on the grid, so he'll have a little bit of work to do. And meanwhile, 12 seconds back, Julian Garcia drove an excellent race to bring it home in 2nd. And just behind him, Paul Hughes, just coming out of the bus stop chicane. He rounded off the podium positions for race 1. And as for me, I followed home Kai-Uwe Stier in 4th to claim a very satisfying 5th position, which will put me on the 2nd row for race 2. I will be starting from 4th, alongside my race 1 sparring partner Chris Jones, who brought it home in 6th behind me. Now, unfortunately, the gap between races was so short I didn't get a chance to see the full classified results. All I got was the first page. So here is your classified top 11 for race 1. Meanwhile, we'll go back to the grid for race 2, where we're lining up with Steenekamp on pole, Koppel in 2nd, then it's Jones and Rogers row 2, Stier and Hughes row 3, Garcia and Hansen row 4. Just changed the Otterhud leaderboard so we can see the whole field for this race, so we should be able to keep an eye on what everybody's doing as the lights are about to go green. And we're off, and it looks like there's a couple of drive-throughs been handed out again. There must have been a couple of jump starts. We got away okay though, so did Julian Garcia by the looks of it. He stormed by on the outside. Oh, and the yellow flags are out, so there might be a bit of carnage behind us, but we've got through okay. We're in 4th. And thankfully there's enough room for me to get back on the racing line so I can go through Eau Rouge with a lot more confidence. Got a really good exit out of there, so yeah, we've made a really good start. I'm happy with that. Hughes, though, is looking like he got an even better exit out of Eau Rouge. He's going to pull alongside me. Or is he going to think better of it? He is going to think better of it. So we are going to hold on to 4th position, although I've drifted a bit deep into there. Hughes is going to have a look on the other side now. I'm all out of shape. I'm going to have to stick to this inside line. Hughes is right alongside me, and he's going to have the drive to get around as well. So now we're down to 5th position. And we might lose another one. Stier having a look on the outside. And he's still there. I might have to give him the space on the inside. No, he's eased off, so we've just held on for now. But I think it might have been Stier that had one of the drive-throughs, so we might not be dealing with him for too long if he's got to go through pit lane. But he's right on my tail now. I think he wants to get by. So I might be bracing myself for a move from Stier. We know from race 1 he's probably got a bit more pace than me. I certainly wasn't catching him when he was in that position ahead of me, so I think he might have the speed to get around me. He's having a look. Oh, now he's going to have a look up the inside, but I don't think he's close enough this time. So we're still holding on just. And the yellows are out. There's a big crash ahead, and that was Sven by the looks of it. Oh, Sven, what's happened? Another big crash. Yeah, this turned out to be a hugely eventful first lap, because in all the chaos I didn't even notice that race 1 winner Lars Hansen also crashed out at Eau Rouge and was out of the race. So let's go back and look at the replay and just see all of what went down, starting with turn 1. And Steenekamp, the pole position man, made an absolute flyer. He was away. But look in the background, there's a bit of carnage, and it was actually Ben Harrison who spun on turn 1. So another disastrous start for LeBroca Sim Racing. But meanwhile, out front, Steenekamp's away. He's more than a second clear of Sven Koppel already. And they're only a couple of turns in. But this is the onboard from Ben. Let's see what happened. Starts at the back of the grid and is just so crowded in turn 1, and he just gets a clip from behind and it spins him right round. Nothing he could do about that. It's just a turn 1 incident. But Ben has got a real uphill battle on his hands now to catch up with the rest of the field and try and get back in amongst the top 10. And then, yeah, we lost our race 1 winner too, Lars Hansen. just making a move up the inside of Millhouse, and Millhouse looks like it got a bit out of shape, and there was nowhere for Hansen to go. That was really unlucky too. This is on board from Hansen, and keep your eye on Millhouse in front. He just gets a bit out of shape, loses the rear, and yeah, poor Lars had nowhere to go at all. And then at the end of the straight, we saw Gaviscon in the McLaren try to make a move up the inside of Millhouse, but he got a bit out of shape too, and like Lars, took a hefty hit into the barrier. And then further on in the lap, we're riding with Sven, who's just lost second position to Julian Garcia, but he runs a bit wide out, clips the wall. He's trying his best to save that BMW, and oh, look how close he gets to connect it with Paul Hughes. We're riding on board with Hughes, and this was how close Hughes came to go in with him. So Steer's obviously not taking his drive through just yet, and he might have a look up the inside of me, so I'm not going to defend that too much if he's got the room to get by, which he has, I think. I'm going to try and get on the gas early, but it looks like Steer's got the drive, and actually it might have opened up a gap for Clarks to come through as well. Yes, it has done. So I've just lost 2 places there, and that's put me down to 6 as we go into Eau Rouge. It looks like Clarks in that McLaren has got real speed coming down this straight. He might even have a go at taking Steer on the outside, as he knows Steer's going to defend tight. They get close. I get even closer. Oh, this is good racing at the start of race 2. There's a bit of a gap starting to open up behind me now. That's good news. That might help me stick with these two if I've not got to concentrate what's going on in my rearview mirror. As we get really close to Clarks. Oh, he's drifted a bit wide. There might be room for us to nip up the inside. I'm going to gun it here. We're side by side as we charge to Pouhon. I'm going to have to be really good on the brakes here. I don't want to drift out. And I've managed to hold the tight line. And I think we've made the pass stick. Yeah, we have. Clarks is behind. So we're back up to 5th. Clarks might have a little sniff up the inside, but he's not close enough. And he's got Van Helden for company as well. So I'm going to try and chase Steer. And I'm still expecting him to make a drive-through in the next lap or 2. So that would put us up to 4th. Oh, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself and run wide there and hit the gravel. And that's let Clarks back through. Oh man, if we thought lap 1 was chaotic, lap 2 was just as hectic, and it started with Steer making that move up the inside into La Source. It left a gap wide open for Clarks to jump through in the McLaren 2, side by side as we go down the hill. I decide to tuck back in behind the 2 of them. I didn't want to go too wide into Eau Rouge. And then a few corners later, Clarks ran a bit wide in this left-hander. He missed the apex. It gave me room to nip up the inside, and then it was a flat-out drag race down to Pouhon. I managed to hold the inside line. I was worried about drifting out and drifting into Clark's line, but I managed to hold it. Might have just clipped a bit of dirt on the inside, but we kept it clean and got that position back. And it looked like there was another accident in the background there as I run wide and get 2 wheels on the gravel, which gives Clark the opportunity he needs to get back into 5th place. Great racing on lap 2. I think I just need to take a breather now. There's 2 seconds to Jones behind, so that's good. But just need to calm down after the mayhem of those opening couple of laps. Well, there's Clark's going to run a bit wide here again. No, he's not this time. He's hit it well. So we just need to tuck in behind Clark's now and try and find a bit of a rhythm. I'm still expecting Steer to be taking that drive through soon. Just a little sniff up the inside there, but not really room to pass. I'm just having a look at my options. I've got another really good drive out here. I might be able to pull up alongside, but I tried this move in race 1 and it didn't work. So I'm just going to think better of it this time and stay tucked in behind. Now we're getting up to the end of the lap now, and the bus stop chicane is Steer going to go down pit lane. Yes, he is by the looks of it. Oh, as I get all out of shape, I got a little bit close to Clark's there. That ruined my exit out of the bus stop chicane. But yeah, Steer's in the pits, so we are up to 5th and chasing Clark's, who's now in 4th. Oh, but look who's come to join the party behind. It's Ben Harrison. Ben's really capitalised on my poor exit from the chicane, and he's right with us. After spinning out in turn 1, he must be on a mission. I know Ben was looking forward to a Harrison-Rogers duel at the Nürburgring the other night in the Formula 4 race that we did on his live stream, but I crashed out of that one and we were denied the chance of a battle. But it looks like Ben might get his wish now because he's got real pace up behind me. He thought better of having a look up the inside then, but he's going to be right behind me soon as we close back in on Clark's as well. We could soon be in a 3-way battle for 4th place. Oh, we're closing right in there. Getting close to Clark's. Ben's just waiting patiently behind. I can't imagine he'll be waiting patiently for long. He'll be wanting to get around the pair of us. I'm going to have a look up the inside, but again, there's no room. Oh, but there might be now. Clark's has run wide. I'm going to try and nip up the inside. Have we done enough? We have. And Harrison's popped through as well. So Clark's has gone from 4th to 6th. I'm up to 4th, but I've got Ben right behind me. He's going to really fancy having a go at this now. So I've got to be prepared, I think, to defend, because Ben might have a little bit more pace than me around here. So I'm going to do my best to defend this 4th position. We've managed to gap Ben a little bit. That's promising. But I'm never the best in the bus stop chicane. I always lose a bit of time. So I suspect we'll see Ben close right in on the exit. I'm always a bit sluggish out of it. I just can't get my lines right. Concentrate. Oh, I'm running even deeper still this time. So I'm definitely not going to be quick out of here. And Ben, yeah, is right behind me. He's in my draft. I'm going to be defensive, I think, here and just hold the inside line. It's going to send him to the outside. He might have the pace to get around me if he gets a good drive. No, he hasn't. We're holding on to it for now. I need to get my line spot on through Eau Rouge and Radillon. Because if Ben gets a better one, he's going to have the drive and the draft, and it looks like he's got exactly that. I'm going to stay on the inside and defend, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Ben's got real pace here. He's got the speed to get alongside me. I'm going to try and brake as late as possible, and we see a yellow flag as well, so I don't know what's gone on in front. There's a little bit of dust up ahead. And it looks like Steenenkamp, actually, who was in the lead. So he must have had an incident too. So we've lost 4th position to Ben, but the two of us are now right behind Steenenkamp. There's just no let up in this race too. I need to try and stick as close to Ben as possible, because I suspect he's going to try and make a move on Steenenkamp pretty soon. And if I'm close enough, it might open up the gap for me to get through as well, but we need to be closer than this. Ben looks like he's measuring him up. Is there going to be room on the inside? Yeah, he's going to go for it. Is he going to make it stick? He is. And Steenenkamp runs wide. Is there room for me? There is, but I don't think it's the right line. Now we're on the outside. I'm going to try and stay alongside him. He's got a little bit of advantage. I've got the inside line here, but no. Steenenkamp shuts it off, but he has run a bit wide, so I can get by now. So okay, we're back into 4th. Harrison's in 3rd, we're chasing him, but that little battle there with Steenenkamp has given Harrison the 1 or 2 seconds he needs to get away. I think pulling that gap back in is going to be difficult, because I know Ben's got good pace around here. But what a battle that was, and it started with my move up the inside, Empujon. Clark's just ran a little bit wide and there was room for me to get through. Ben followed through and we both got around the McLaren. And then on the exit of Radalon, Ben got a fantastic drive out of there, real speed, carrying down the back straight. I couldn't really do anything about that. I took the defensive line, that was all I could do. But Ben had the speed to get around in front of me. And that's what brought us right behind Steenekamp, who a little bit further down the field was battling with Julian Garcia and Paul Hughes for that lead and just gets a bit out of shape. And that's what brought Ben and I closer to him. As Steenekamp rejoins, you'll see Ben and me in the background. There we are. And then a few corners later, I was waiting for Ben to make the move. He did so up the inside, but there wasn't quite enough room for me to follow. I managed to hold that line, so I knew I had the inside line for this upcoming right-hander. Steenekamp just about got it tied off, but then ran a little bit wide on exit, just clipped the gravel. And that gave me the space to get through. This is fantastic racing. Really good action. Now ahead of me, I could see Harrison speeding off into the distance and there wasn't much I could do about it. Behind me, I had Andre, but as we exit the source here, he just gets a little bit out of shape again. You see him a rear view mirror, just about manages to hold on to that Porsche, but it cost him another position. However, it did make my fourth place a lot more comfortable because now, all of a sudden, I've got a second gap to Clark's behind me. Now, I know I'm not going to catch Ben Harrison unless he makes a mistake, so for now, I'm concentrating on maintaining this fourth place, which gives us a chance to see what's going on up the front, because there was an almighty tussle. Watch Julian Garcia in the Porsche on the outside here. He made an excellent start. He stormed around me on the outside into turn one, and that put him up to third behind Sven. And as we power down the back straight, flat out in sixth gear, Julian's already planning his next move to pass Sven and take that second place. Doesn't quite do it here, but as we approach to the next section of corners, Julian's already got his eyes on that inside line going into the hairpin. And he makes his move here, pulls alongside Sven, and he makes the move stick perfectly. It's so easy to lock up the brakes when you're trying to brake tightly on the inside there, and that can cause chaos. But no, Julian made that stick. Really good pass. And as the laps wore on, Paul Hughes joined in the battle. He's in the Porsche in third. He caught up with the lead in two, and all of a sudden, we've got a three-way battle for the lead of race two. As they race down the start-finish straight, it's Julian on the inside who's making his move. He's looking for the pass up the inside of Steenekamp, and he makes it. Another excellent pass from Julian. Really clean and fair racing. This is great stuff. And as they power down the hill, Steenenkamp's going to tuck in behind to try and keep with Julian. It doesn't happen, and we've already seen what happens to him at the end of that straight. He loses control, but then watch Julian. He almost does the same thing. Just gets a little bit out of shape, and then all of a sudden, that invites Paul Hughes back in, and Paul goes around the outside and into the lead of the race. The battle was only just heating up at this point. A couple of laps later, it got even better. Julian getting the draft, tucking himself right in behind Paul. He's thinking about making a move. Paul's going to defend. So Julian goes to the outside. Has he got enough to get around? Almost, but not quite. Paul's not going to let it go easy, and they're still side by side. Paul's got the inside now. He's still not letting it go. They're side by side as they come into the hairpin. Again, Paul keeps it tight. There's a little bit of contact. Julian cuts back, but he's on the outside line. It's going to be difficult to make this stick. He's going to try his best, though. They're still side by side for about the fourth or fifth corner. And finally, Julian just gets that little bit of extra drive that gets him in front. An incredible pass from Julian, and he retakes the lead of the race. And we can just appreciate this battle again from the onboard, starting with Paul's car. And there's Julian just getting around the outside. Paul not going to give up the position. They get close. We're riding with Julian now. As we head into the hairpin, you'll see there's a slight bit of contact as Julian tries to cut back right there. Just a brush. But Julian, even though he's on the outside, somehow makes the pass stick. And then we fast forward a lap again, and you'll see now Ben Harrison is closing in on these two, and Paul just gets a little bit out of shape, the same as what Julian did a couple of laps earlier, and that's what invites Ben right on the back of the Porsche. And now all of a sudden we've got another battle on our hands. This time it's Hughes v Harrison, and this one's going to be every bit as thrilling as the one we saw between Hughes and Garcia just a little bit earlier. We're riding on board with Ben Harrison now. This is footage from his La Broca Sim Racing channel, and we can enjoy this battle in full. Ben getting as close as he can, having a look around the outside. There's no room, so he switches. Has a look again, but he's still on the outside.
Still there.
Paul really is a master of defending. He's making it so hard for Ben to find a way around. So difficult to find the extra speed that you need around this fast part of the circuit to pull alongside. Ben still trying his hardest. He's got right on the back of Paul again. Gonna have a look on the outside. Paul's taking the inside defensive line into the bus stop chicane. Still no room. Oh, and a bit of contact. Ben giving Paul a tap there. And now they're hurtling down the start and finish straight. Paul defending so well. It's a real masterclass in defensive driving, this. Making it almost impossible for Ben to find a way around. He's trying every trick in the book. He's even going to think about tucking it up the inside, going into La Source here. I can barely watch. There's a little bit of contact there, but amazingly, they both make it through. And Paul still is in second place. This really is an incredible battle. It looks like Ben's picked up a little bit of suspension damage, either from the contact or the run over the curbs. He's going to have a look at the inside, brakes really late, but still Paul defends excellently. Ben's run a bit wide there. Oh, this is fantastic racing. Ben really trying everything he can to get around Paul. Is he going to look at the inside? No, again, Paul's cut that line off. There's no way around. We're on the last lap now. It's do or die for Ben Harrison. What's he going to find? Is he going to get a good drive out and get up the inside? Is he going to pull alongside Paul? Paul thinks about defending, but it's too late. Ben's already got his nose there, and he's forged that little bit of space that he needs. Keeps it really tight, and Puhani's made the move stick, finally. What a battle. Yeah, that was really tough racing. Tough and hard racing, but it was fair. This was Ben just having a look up the inside. Paul cuts it off. Really feel sorry for Paul. He was working so hard to keep Ben at bay, and he only had half a lap to go, and he would have held on to that second place, but he just left a gap open there. Ben got alongside, and once he's got that inside move into Puhan, he's going to make it stick. There's a little bit of contact. A bit of paint got swapped. Paul thinks about trying to cut back to the inside, but Ben's just got too much momentum. It was really spectacular stuff. Meanwhile, I was behind, watching the action unfold. The two guys were beating each other up, and they were about 5 seconds ahead of me. But on this last lap, I pulled in 2 seconds on them just because they were so focused on battling each other. But I knew it was probably too little too late for me. Unless they were going to crash, I was going to have to settle for 4th place, which I was more than happy with. Meanwhile, further up the road, the leader, Julian Garcia, was oblivious to what was going on behind him. He was out all on his own, driving the perfect race to bring home his Porsche for a well-deserved victory in race 2. Just exiting the bus stop chicane there to take the checkered flag, and we'll see in the background, there's Ben Harrison to take 2nd, and Paul Hughes having to settle for 3rd, with me following the 3 of them behind. to take 4th place in an absolutely thrilling second race. I can honestly say that's the most exciting RaceRoom race I've ever driven in. And if all of our community races are going to be like this, then bring them on. We're planning to run them weekly, so if you fancy getting involved, please do. Go to the description in this video and click on the link. You can join our Discord server and come and say hi. And if you prefer to watch these races without me ranting and raving over the top of them, then do check out Kevin Millhouse's channel. Kevin there finished in 11th. He has posted the spectator broadcast video of both races, and they're well worth a watch, so I'll make sure there's a link to that video too in this description. But I hope you've enjoyed watching these races as much as I enjoyed driving in them. Cheers.